Okay. Yeah, so when we left Banff today, you noticed that Vermilion Lakes was frozen as we were leaving town, and then we get up here to Lake Louise, and it's not frozen yet. Vermilion Lakes, the elevation of those lakes is about 1,350 meters, about 4,500 feet. And we've gained a lot of elevation on our drive up to Lake Louise and up the hill. Now we're at about 5,200 feet, about 1,600 meters. And this lake isn't frozen yet, Vermilion Lake is. It's colder up here, warmer down where Vermilion Lake is. What's going on here? Water's interesting. So we're taught in school that water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. It turns out that it's a little more complicated than that. Water starts to freeze at about 3.8 degrees Celsius or about 39 degrees Fahrenheit. And what goes on then is it's starting to cool. It forms tetrahedrons, and each water molecule will adhere to 4 other molecules, and that pulls it down to the bottom of the lake. And the idea here is that the deeper the lake is, despite being higher elevation and colder here, the deeper that the lake is, the longer it's going to take to freeze. So Lake Louise being about 70 meters deep, 220 feet, something like that, it's going to take longer to freeze than Vermilion Lakes, which is only usually about 3 meters deep, maybe about 10 feet at the most. And so here what has to happen is the surface of the water, the cold air here, which is colder, it cools the water, gets it down to 3.8 degrees Celsius, then 39 degrees Fahrenheit, then it forms those tetrahedrons. Those molecules adhere to 4 other molecules. That draws that down to the bottom of the lake. That layer sinks. Then the next layer up is like 7 degrees or 6 degrees. It has to go down to 3.8 and drop. And that has to happen over and over, night after night, night after night, until finally the surface and everything below it is 3.8 degrees Celsius, and then the lake can freeze. And of course, with Vermilion Lake, despite it being warmer down there, the lake being so shallow, it's going to freeze quicker than Lake Louise. We could be up to 4 weeks later here at Lake Louise for the lake to freeze. So just a little bit of info there on how our lakes freeze and how this works here in Banff. Thank you.